Hello and welcome to the Nikon Report, your weekly roundup of all the latest Nikon news and all other photographic somethings that we find interesting. What do you normally say?
It's April Fool's and Konstantin is here and here is...
Becky.
Yeah, now forget about April Fool's. We don't do that
We don't.
in this place. But we're going to start with some real news this time. And Nikon released a firmware update for Z800mm f6.3 and it's at version 1.11. They fixed an issue in which vibration reduction would sometimes interfere with even Newton.
Interesting.
Yeah. But then we also saw some software updates and NX Studio has been bumped up to version 1.32 and they fixed an issue in which color profiles would sometimes not be embedded when pictures were exported and also fixed an issue that caused pictures not to display correct in the image viewer when zoomed in on non-retina displays.
There you go. And they also updated the Nikon Message Center too. You know, that really annoying thing that pops up every few minutes when you're trying to use your computer.
That's how me and Becky communicate. We talk to each other via Nikon Messenger.
It's so irritating. Anyway, so they've made some changes from version 2.4 to 2.5. They've added support for all the new operating systems, as well as running it as a native application on Apple Silicon computers. They have, unfortunately and sadly, ended support for macOS Mojave, High Sierra, and Sierra version 10.12. So if you've got an older operating system, then you probably won't get that little message center pop-up anymore.
That's true. And now since it supports the native silicon, then you're going to have those pop-ups now a lot faster.
That's right.
And more often, probably.
Super fast message pop-ups. New message, go away.
Exactly. So that's pretty much all real news. Now let's talk rumors. So Nikon Rumors is on fire again. Now he says Z6iii and Z7iii is no more for this year. All cancelled now. And Z8 will be here in a couple of months, and then another surprise full-frame model.
That's right. Now, when I saw this article, I did check the date to make sure that it wasn't fake news because, you know, those 1st of April things have gotten us many, many times before. In fact, I think last year we did have something that we almost reported and then found out it was an April Fool's joke. But this is apparently not. So what the author of this article says is that Nikon will not announce successors to Z6 II and Z7 II this year, but we will be getting a Z8 supposedly within weeks. They say a new teaser campaign is rumored and that there is also a second surprise full-frame camera coming in the fall or autumn as we know it on this side of the pond. And that's it. No other new bodies this year.
All right, so let's just dissect it. Okay, let's start with first. No Z6 II and no Z7 II camera replacement this year. Do you think that's the case? I mean, I personally don't. I personally still think that we'll see them this year.
I think if we were going to see them, we would see them in September, October time, which is usually when we see those bodies come out, just based on the last 2 generations of them. I would like to see updates, but at the same time, it depends on what Nikon are going to do with the next camera that they bring out and how much they can do to those 2 cameras. The Z6 II and the Z7 II are remarkable cameras. So if you're already an owner of one, then you can probably tell us how much you enjoy the features of that camera. But we'd be interested to know what you think could be improved in them.
The problem is that in the age of the internet, where the just pressure goes up and up and up and up, another year of waiting may not sit well with a lot of people.
I know, but yeah, I do understand.
Yeah. Shall we have another therapy session with Konstantin and Becky that we like to do every now and then?
Just so that you can have a complain about it. That's fine. That you can always have a moan in the comments. We won't take it personally, honest.
Exactly. And we will open all the chakras that necessary for this type of pressure.
Okay. Whatever chakras you need to open, that's fine. You can do that. But I think that this mystery camera is possibly more interesting to me.
No, wait. I refuse to believe we're not going to see Z6iii and Z7iii.
Fair enough.
I refuse that.
Yeah, I think it's odd. I would love to see 4 new cameras this year.
I mean, I appreciate slow and steady, but at the same time, I think it is a good time. I mean, we're not talking the same time as Z8, but it has to be, even if it's a New Year's Eve. But, you know, it has to be this year. Okay.
Just so that in our year in review thing, we can say that Nikon brought out 4 cameras this year.
Technically speaking, but tell us what you think.
Yeah.
now that's secret camera. So Nikon Rumors has these 3 versions of that future that they can go to. So maybe in alternative realities, all 3 cameras will happen.
Like the trouser of time.
Exactly. We all live in multiverse. I mean, that's what at least DC Comics made me to believe. It's not DC Comics. It's, what's the other one? The Marvel.
Both actually have multiverses. DC have multiverses more so than Marvel. As far as the multiverse theories go, we have option 1, which is a dedicated video camera. Now, we've been talking about that because we talked about the Plena.
Yeah. One thing we did mention, a lot of people pointed this out, the Plena spelled in the same font as Noct, which means to me that it is a series of lenses.
Right.
And again, PL could be the PL mount, cinema mount for cinema cameras. So that's where it all lines up. But a dedicated video camera, video app, they've been registered, it's kind of ties up nicely.
It does. It's true. And it's something that I think, because Nikon were the first company to produce a DSLR with video in it back in the D90 days. And then other companies sort of started to move very rapidly on their video technology. And obviously with the Z system, I mean, they've always been very good, but people don't automatically associate Nikon cameras with video. And I think that's something that Nikon have been trying to change, particularly with the capabilities of cameras like the Z9 and the Z6 and the Z6 II with their movie kit variants as well. So a video camera is a definite possibility, or at least something that I think is worth entertaining. Another option is a small full frame vlogging camera like the Z30, but in full frame size.
Yeah, so Sony just released this vlog camera. It's a full frame, it's tiny. I think it's the lightest mirrorless full frame camera to date. From them. And they have really cool features. So if, let's say, dedicated video camera is going to be more like Sony FX3, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, then this particular camera, for me, it would be more of a kind of Z3 camera, if you see what I mean. So I'm thinking that we're all into videos now, and DPReview just published this interview with another Nikon representative where they say we definitely want to get into video side of things. So it seems to me that Z3 camera is actually in the works, and it is happening, and it's going to be more or less a Z30. Now, ZVE1, though, does really cool features for vloggers. First of all, they have really cool tracking now, so it's like, you can have the camera, you can walk, and it smooths a lot better. And it's all done via full frame readout at 4K, but then it crops in a little bit. But it's also, they do these little things where you can just zoom in and zoom out while you're filming yourself, all done within the camera. So a lot of editing work done within the camera while you're filming yourself, which is very good. And I think that for vloggers or creators, as we call them now, we got away from influencers. Now we're all creators, apparently. So for people like this, a one-man band, camera like this is very good. And those dedicated video cameras, they don't do that because they design more for more professional use. Therefore, you're going to do a lot of post-production later on. While the camera like ZVE1 is designed more for creators. So, you want to film yourself real quick. You don't want to edit too much. It's all kind of ready to go. You can apply lots to the image, etc., etc. So, it could be something like this. But camera like Z3, I think, is in the works. So effectively Z30, but full frame with lots of fancy vlogger things built in.
Okay, so that's another possibility.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think that their content creation now kind of takes on so many different guises. And having a full frame Z vlogging camera, although it's not something that I would necessarily be terribly excited about, it does kind of fit with Nikon's strategy, if you know what I mean. They took the Z30 and were like, this is for influencers. And then they've really, really pushed that. If you look at Nikon Europe's advertising and everything, you will see that they're heavily focused on content creators, not photographers. Right, with the Z30. That release was not specifically for photographers. It was for people who do other things as their main profession and want to document it.
Yeah.
So the Z3, let's call it, because it's a full frame version, we just take off the 0 at the end, could certainly be something like that. It's like, okay, so what if you're a content creator but you want next level? I don't think that's what this next camera is going to be, but I could be proven wrong.
Okay, so if you just take 2 cameras, so a dedicated video camera and then full-frame vloggers camera.
Yeah.
What do you think is more likely to happen first?
I think the dedicated video camera, because it makes more sense just from where people are going to put their money, essentially.
So professional crowd, effectively.
I think so.
Less creators, more professional crowd. I mean, we're all creators, and obviously professionals are creators as well.
Yeah.
They want it or not. But okay, I got you. Okay, so now the third possibility, and I think that probably would be your favorite one, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So the third possibility that Nikon Rumors have suggested is a retro full-frame Z camera, so a real DF replacement. We sometimes call it the ZF. It's something that I made up and seems to also be all over the internet. So maybe other people also made it up at the same time. But we've been calling it ZF for, well, as long as the ZFC's been out, basically.
Well, the interesting thing is that ZFC actually, C doesn't stand for APS-C, aka DX. It stands for casual. So do you think we'll get ZFS for like superior. Or serious?
It could be called the ZFS or ZFS for our North American and American folk. But I don't know that they would just randomly throw in. It doesn't need the extra letter. Regardless of what it's called, a retro-styled full-frame camera is, for me, of more interest than a dedicated video camera. But where people will put their money is ultimately what's going to decide it for Nikon, I think.
Okay. From one point, I agree with you, because obviously we are photographers, so we prefer the still side of imagery, you know. So in terms of this, yes, we are, like a lot of our users, we look into cameras for photography. Now, the video market, however, is huge, and it's the possibility and the door that Nikon actually hasn't opened that much yet. So I think, you know, obviously we've got Z9, which is very competitive camera in video space. And obviously we've got Z30 on the lower end of things. Having another camera that to bring that market and to actually expand that market, because obviously photographers, Nikon would buy Nikon cameras, but then videographers are highly likely using other brands and getting them to switch to Nikon because of that video camera would be expanding your user base. Now, from photographer's point of view, of course, I would love a nice retro full frame Nikon and, you know, call it ZF, call it whatever you want. I mean, Nikon, with this camera, literally has a license to print free money. Like, it's there, you just release it and it's going to sell well. However, I think one of the things that Nikon may worry about is because obviously the price is going to be higher and obviously the volume is going to be lower compared to ZFC model, which is more aimed at younger generation. Obviously, ZF will attract probably a lot of keen enthusiasts who shot film back in the day and wanted to rekindle that feeling of using an analog camera, or just buy an analog camera anyway.
Just shoot film.
You know, so I think the worry is that may not sell as well as we photographers would like to have it. But we know people who actually bought ZFCs because they look cool. So we know quite a few people that done this. So I think that if Nikon release a camera like this and doesn't charge like a prices, we will have a winner in our hands.
I agree.
Tell us what you think about upcoming surprise camera from Nikon in the comments below.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Your weekly Z8 Rumours updates.
Non-news for you. Nikon Rumors has posted a recent article which has a very peculiar title, but essentially says that there are some Z8 rumors from China sent in by a reader who says, "I'm just a Nikon user who wakes up every day to check Nikon Rumors website about the Nikon Z8. Wow. I have been waiting for the new Nikon Z8. I'm excited to find out on Bilibili that a photographer working with Nikon claims that what we expect will be satisfied, as the screenshot says. In the comments below, due to confidentiality, he suggests we can search some rumors he said before because they're out of control from Nikon officials. So I searched the rumors, he said. In the other screenshot, he said for sure that the Z8 is a mini Z9. So I assume the Z8 is 45 megapixels and not a camera specialized for video only. So essentially, all that this comment says is
some uncle who works at Nikon.
Someone posted some earlier rumors, and although they can't say yes or no, those rumors are correct.
Well, what I've read is Nikon officials are out of control. So
make of that what you will. And if you find that interesting, go and read the article yourself and see what you can figure out.
And then next week, Nikon Rumors is going to come out with other non-news article about Z8 until the teasers or the actual development announcement or the real announcement is released. I mean, from what we hear, that it's basically happening any second now. So it's beginning of financial year, manufacturers starting to release new cameras and new products in. So it seems like Nikon is lined up towards releasing something within the April-May period. So is it Z8? Is it any other cameras or lenses? We don't know.
We know nothing.
Now, to the real news. DPReview on its victory lap and its published interview from CB Plus taken with Keiji Oishi, who is a manager of UX planning department at Nikon. He had some interesting things to say. So we covered the video side of things. He basically said that we indeed intend to enhance our presence in the video camera. That's what tells me that Z3 is coming. And we recognize that the video market is full of opportunities and cash. So that's that. And then on ZFC, he said, they asked him, well, would you like full frame ZF? And he just laughed. And obviously that's all the answer we need.
Laughed in their faces.
Exactly. So I don't see him saying no, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a no. What he actually said was that both a ZF and a ZFC have their advantages. It depends on how you want to use the camera. But he's an owner of the DF and bought the DF. He thinks that a mirrorless version would be very appealing. So
quite a few Nikon executives, actually, we know have Nikon DF cameras.
That's correct, yeah.
So that's very interesting. So they do love their retro cameras. And that just tells me that ZF is hopefully
That's right.
coming at some point in the future.
It's not just us that like it.
Exactly. All right, well, let's go to April Fool's then. It's people making funnies on the internet, funsies, whatever you want to call them. So let's cover the Nikon-related April Fools.
Okay. I don't want to. First up, Matt Irwin posted a video. He said new Nikon specs leaked, not the Z8. Is it a rangefinder? This was an April Fool's video, but the reason we're pointing it out is because Matt in this video is sporting a very fetching Grays beanie logo hat and also his Grays of Westminster pen. So thank you very much for the shout out, Matt, and we hope you enjoy your goodies.
As a real movie reviewers, we're going to just take a quote as seen on Matt Irwin's video, and just put it everywhere on our merch.
Exactly.
But if you do love merch, Matt has lots of it, so do check him out. Now, Nikon Rumors published this article that Nikon UK accidentally posted a new camera development announcement, and it's a ZM, which is Z medium format. Apparently, they had this article for 30 minutes and it's been taken off. So
probably because someone got really annoyed with them.
Exactly. Well, it's April Fool's. It wasn't actually there, but obviously a nice mock-up of Nikon UK website. So, us tricksters in the UK. So obviously, Nikon medium format camera would be nice to have, and a lot of people did their math, and they can say that Z mount can actually fit a full smaller medium format sensor, which is 44 by 33 centimeters. So so that's where it came from. But what I thought, Becky, since we are making the fun jokes that everyone is laughing at.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha. So what would be a cool Nikon-related April Fool's joke? I've got one.
Yeah.
April Fools. Nikon released the firmware update for Z6iii and Z7 Mark II cameras.
Add the badum.
It's a cruel one.
That is a cruel April Fool's. Honestly, if they'd done that and then taken it down after April Fool's, that would have been really sad, wouldn't it? I think it would have been nice if they did a release of the Nikon FM4, which should have been a film camera.
FM4, yeah.
And a film camera, or a digital back for your FM3A and F6. Who knows?
Would be cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Well, look, Leica released M6 last year. So, actually, it wouldn't sound stratospheric like if Nikon says we are re-releasing FM3A.
Yeah.
$2,500. Brand spanking new.
Easy. Yeah.
To say we made it out of brass or something, So now it's 5 kilos in weight because of that. But, but it's now brass made. I would be probably cancel my 8 if I want to order, and then would just get one of those.
Okay.
But it's an interesting one. And also, I think it would be cool, like if company like Leica would release some sort of Mickey Mouse limited edition version of some of their camera. But actually, they did release one.
Yes.
It's called Disney 100 Years One-Day Edition for Leica Q2.
Now, I did honestly think that this was an April Fool's joke, and I'm sorry that I did. It's actually super cute. I kind of love it.
You know how much is it? It's about $5 or $6 grand.
But what I don't love is the price. So anyway, if you're a massive Disney fan, then maybe the Leica Q2 Disney 100 Years of Wonder edition is the camera for you. It is a thing of beauty, I must say.
Leica Q2 Mickey Mouse edition joins Leica Q2 Seal edition as well as Leica M Lenny Kravitz edition.
There you go.
So, for you collectors with a few pennies, definitely a one to collect.
Who collects digital cameras, though, seriously?
I don't know. People are weird.
People are weird.
But we are not here to judge.
I wouldn't buy a Lenny Kravitz camera. Like,
it's all brassed up with a snake leather cover.
It would be different, I think, if it was... I'm just trying to think what. Okay, I have a question for you related to this topic.
Okay.
What special edition would you buy if Leica or Nikon or anyone did a special edition of a celebrity or of some pop culture thing? What would you do? What would you buy?
I think it would be some sort of legendary photographer.
Yeah.
Would release, but it has to be very understated though. Like for me, I hate this all flashy stuff personally. I think if they would say, okay, like we're going to make it out of, let's say, very good materials, and we're going to change maybe with photographer's input, not just photographer's name, but actually the photographer's input. He said maybe that the way he shoots, and he would say, oh, I would just want to slightly move things around. If that would be something like this, I would be definitely interested. But I don't need a Pikachu edition of my FM3A. I mean, but it probably would be actually quite cool.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it. But yeah, like a single edition of a camera is just a little bit, well, out of my budget, first of all, but also out of my taste.
I understand. And I think that a photographer's special edition would be much better. What a way to keep it classy.
Yeah, like for example, David Douglas Duncan edition, you know, something like this. Yeah, give me a camera that I will appreciate. I don't need anything flashy. Don't give me Andy Warhol FM3A or anything like this.
Stay classy.
San Diego.
Now for some corporation news for you. Japan is to restrict chip-making equipment exports with their eye on China.
Get serious, people. All right, so the Japanese government announced on Friday last week that 23 items, including advanced semiconductors manufacturing equipment, remember that, will be added to the list of items subject to export controls. This move will make it more difficult for the companies to export to China. So the changes mean that the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry will need to approve exports of such items individually. Okay. So you want to export, you have to go through them first. Yeah.
Right.
Nikon is one of the 10 affected companies.
Right.
Okay. So think about this. So obviously Nikon has some semiconductor factories in China. So that's going to make it difficult. And Japan is joining the United States in this effort as well as Netherlands. Now, coincidentally, around this time, Nikon did this announcement. Nikon established Nikon Precision Malaysia. Yeah. So from China to Malaysia. Yeah. Why is this happening? We're not sure, but the business will start in November this year. They say through the establishment of the new company, Nikon will strengthen its support system in Malaysia, where investments by semiconductor manufacturers is accelerating. And this will further strengthen their semiconductor equipment business in Southeast Asia. Do you think those two news are related?
It does kind of feel that way, particularly when you put them side by side. Obviously, individually, we think, oh, you know, fine, they're opening up another factory or more plants in Malaysia. That's excellent.
Well, that's why I do my, research.
Investigative reporting. But
it's not just April Fool's this time.
No, it's not just the funnies. But putting that next to the new legislation, that does make me think that maybe Nikon are trying to preempt the effects of the laws in order to make sure that it doesn't affect their production.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I want to see where it goes. But if they will try to expand the Malaysian production at some point. I mean, at the moment, they say it's about 50 people to start with, but they will try to expand it. Will that mean that they will try to leave China for manufacturing and start to develop it somewhere else? You never know.
Next up for some Nikon Corp news. So Nikon have joined the Japan Climate Leaders Partnership, or JCLP, a corporate group aiming to realize a sustainable, decarbonized society.
Yeah, so their goal together is to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions to zero worldwide by 2050.
Which is good. It needs to be faster, but it's good. To achieve this, they're taking steps to reduce greenhouse gases, such as joining the international initiative RE100, which aims to procure 100% of electricity used in business activities from renewable energy. So it's a start.
That's true. Back to some photography news. Nikon continues to sponsor Marilyn Stafford Photo Reportage Award. The 2023 round launched on 18th of March.
That's right. This award is granted annually to a professional woman photographer towards the completion of a compelling and cohesive documentary photo essay, which addresses an important social, environmental, economic, or cultural issue, whether local or global. If you would like to participate, you can head over to the link that we've included in the description box for you.
Fantastic. And let's move on to third-party news. And we got some news for you, something we couldn't talk about last Friday, but Sigma just announced that their lenses for Nikon Z mount are coming on 21st of April.
That's right. They are available for pre-order now, and let's walk you through them. So we first up have the 16mm f1.4 DCD-NI Contemporary. So these are all APS-C or crop sensor DX lenses. They'll all fit your Z30, Z50, ZFC, and obviously will also fit your full frame Z cameras, but in DX crop mode because you can't turn that off. So the 16mm f1.4 is set at a recommended retail price of $449.99 and works out at about a 24mm focal length.
Pretty good. We don't have that on DX system.
We don't. Next up, they have a 30mm f1.4, which is basically your 45-50 standard lens. That one's a very neat and tidy little lens and is set at a price of £349.99. This is obviously all UK prices, so they will vary a bit world over. So that's our nifty 50 kind of equivalent, which we also don't really have.
That's true.
In the Nikon lineup. Last up, we have a 56 1.4, which is basically a portrait lens.
Yeah, a nice portrait lens.
And that one's set at £449.99. They are all very small and light lenses. We have seen them in the flesh, and we're looking forward to testing those out very soon.
Well, apparently their combined weight is less than a kilo, which is pretty good. And yeah, we are going to be testing those lenses.
We are. We're going to be putting them through their paces on the ZDX cameras. I can tell you that the little standard nifty 35-50 lens, 45, it's a 30, which translates to a 45, is only 285 grams.
That's pretty good. Yeah. And for some of you who can connect the dots, you will know what I was looking at during the live stream.
On Friday. It wasn't a camera, as some people suggested afterwards.
No Z8.
No. So that's terribly exciting. If you would like to put in your pre-orders now, you can do so through the Grays of Westminster website. We will be stocking them, and we hope to see them delivered on or around the 21st of April.
That's true. And I really like the initiative from Sigma. It's 3 lenses. So Tamra just released 1. And that's it. We haven't heard anything since then.
It's very cool.
Sigma just goes in with the 3 lenses straight away on day 1. They told us that we will see more announcement. Actually, in the first half of the year as well, second half of the year. So hopefully we will see more goodies coming in, especially for us full-frame users as well. But I think it's a nice foot in the door for future lenses to come.
That's right. Now, we also have Viltrox, who are rumored to be releasing the popular 75 f1.2 APS-C lens for Nikon Z mount and a new 16mm f1.8 full-frame lens.
That's cool. So 75 is a DX lens, and it's already available on Fujifilm mount. So the Sony and Nikon Z mount is expected to be released very soon. And yeah, 16 f1.8, a wide aperture, ultra-wide-angle lens that we've seen from a lot of third-party manufacturers. So hopefully Nikon also will release their version.
It would be quite cool.
But it would be nice to see. Absolutely. The more the merrier.
That's right. And then we have Laowa, who have officially announced the 28 f1.2 that we talked about last week. It is now out there in the wild. It weighs 562 grams, and it's very impressive in that it's under $600.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, 562 grams, that's pretty good, because I thought this lens would weigh at least a kilo because 28 on 1.2.
I know.
And it's a full frame and at price of $600.
Yeah.
I personally find it attractive. Of course, there's also a Nikon F-mount 28 1.4e, which is a legendary lens, but a lot more expensive, and you need FTZ to use it. But it's always nice to have a native options around.
Exactly. Now, moving on to our reviews section, we have a Nikon 58mm f0.95 Noct review by DPReview. This is actually their last YouTube video as DPReview.
But they will be back with petapixel.
They will. And just one word summary is it's very good at f0.95.
Yeah, I think the consensus is there's lots of wide aperture lenses available, but consensus is they're not very good wide open. So it's nice to have a lens which is actually very, very sharp, wide open, and also improves stop down. Obviously very expensive, massive, manual focus lens, so not for everyone.
But
it's a nice proof of concept from Nikon.
Indeed. Now, we also have Matt Granger, who has reviewed the Nikon 85 1.2 Z lens, who says, worth the price, size, and weight, question mark? Well, you'll have to, yeah. I was going to say, well, you'll have to watch his video to find out.
And there's another video from FramesTM who actually didn't do much talking about the lens, but he actually showed what this lens can produce and what can achieve, especially in low light with such fast focus at 1.2 is incredible. So do have a look at his video as well.
Exactly. Now, Asobinet have published their review of the 26 2.8. They've given a full review, but just to give you some brief pros and cons, we've got good texture of the metal exterior, small and lightweight, dust and splash proof, good resolution, even when shooting close-ups, good distance resolution performance, and the back bokeh is soft. Now, they did say it was expensive for a 26 2.8, and the fact that it has slight field curvature and what they call onion blur.
Yeah, I prefer garlic blur personally.
Large barrel-shaped distortion, vignetting that must be corrected, and some coma aberration, which is conspicuous. We are actually doing our own tests on this lens, and we'll be putting out our review as soon as it's finished for you. But in the meantime, you can have a read of that if you're interested.
And if you want to read more, there's another article from Nikon 1001 Nights blog. It's Tale 85, The Truth About Micro Nikon Auto 55 f3.5 lens.
Excellent. Now, this is blending into your weekend read and watch, but some homework for you as well. The Nikon F4 from the Greys archive video is out and on our channel, so you can go and have a look at that. Guess when it was filmed, just based on the environment.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
It took us a while to get that one out, but we had a plan. And then we threw in the F6 and the F5 before the F4 video. So therefore, the F4 video, although it was filmed at Christmas, is out now for your delectation. Now, last up, we have quite an interesting one. This is also not an April Fool's joke. This is the world's first real potato camera.
Made out of potato and used a potato film made out of potato starch. It's not an April Fool's joke, apparently.
Yeah, so essentially, they've said, by now the internet is pretty familiar with potato quality photos. Many people have even attempted to create potato quality images using real potatoes as different camera elements, such as the lens or the body. We decided to take things a step further and embark on a journey to explore the possibilities of potato photography. Our goal was to create a potato lens and a potato camera body to build the world's first 100% potato camera, and we were determined to succeed.
Did they mention that they're made of potato?
I think so. I don't know how many times I said the word potato just then. We documented the whole process, and we're excited to finally share this product with the world. So you can go and have a look on their YouTube channel for a little sneak peek of that.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us this week.
Yes, thank you very much for watching and or listening. Please give us a like and a subscribe if you're on YouTube, and a follow, a rating, perhaps even a review if you're listening on a podcast platform.
Did you know that we are available on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify's of the world? And please do share us on Reddit, Facebook, and Nextdoor.
And if you'd like to find us on the internet, you can locate us on Instagram. I am at Rebecca_Danese. The shop is at Nikon at Grays.
And I'm at Konstantin Kochkin. We will see you next week. We won't see you next week.
We won't see you next week.
But we will see you in 2 weeks.
We will.
With another riveting update on upcoming Nikon Z8.
Just throw it in there. Excellent. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, 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 bye.